Oh, right. Hi, everyone. It's Andy. Just thought I'd do just a little bit of short training to help people when they're looking to build a customer base with catalogs and using the presenting method. Just let me just drop that down to there so you can see everything. So this is going to be really short and sweet. But what you're looking to do is create road profiles. That's the key. So you might have 100 houses in a road, and what you're aiming to do over a period of time is to get some sort of answer from each house at a different time. So you could be going to houses 1, 2, and 3, find somebody in. They might say no, they might say yes. They get the catalogue. You pop back the next day. Can't stress how important it is doing it 24 hours so tomorrow slips, and making sure you go back on that day, not the next day, not the following day, but on that day. That's how people begin to trust what you're doing. You're either going to pick up an order, but more probably you're going to have people who've looked or not looked, and they're called potentials. And that's where you're going to get your future customers from. So you might find 1, 2, 3 people in at house number 4, house number 5, they're out. That doesn't mean that you're never going to go back to that house. What it means is you might have to go back at a different time, perhaps on a weekend, to find that person in. So ultimately, what you're going to have is every house having some sort of answer, and that's how you complete a road profile. Now, what you're also looking to do is to keep really good records, because when you're going out, you might actually just have a little notebook jotting this down as you're going out. Don't leave the information you're recording in that notebook, because over time it gets tatty, it gets wet, it gets mushy, all sorts of things. You need to pop all the information onto what we call a street sheet, and a street sheet looks something like this, where you've got the road name, house, customer name, maybe their telephone number, and dates running across there. This could be on a spreadsheet, it could be on this hardcover A4 sheet, or any book A4 notebook that you can create yourself. But it's so important to keep this record, because this is going to be over time gold dust for you, because it's going to develop your customers over time. So important keeping good records. So that's a street sheet. There's even little codes at the bottom when you're ticking whether people are looking or not looking or placing orders. So you need to have these set up. So you don't take these out with you. You have a little notebook for recording things as you go, and you transfer it straight away onto your street sheet or spreadsheet, so you've got really good records. So really important to have a street sheet detailing what's happening here. So it's either going to be a no, or it's going to be a yes with an order, or yes, it's either not been looked at or it's been looked. And you can tell if it's been looked because the catalogue will be upside down, back to front, etc. So there are your potentials. So with your potentials, this is really important. Don't just give up and not go back to those again. This is the key. This is where you're going to get your customers further down the road. So I would suggest people who have not looked on 3 separate occasions, you take them out and don't go back in the future. For lookers, I would carry on for a minimum of 5 occasions. And the reason for that is, within the world of marketing and advertising, the retail industry knows, which is why they're consistent and persistent with their advertising. If they send out emails recommending a product over 5 separate occasions, they know there's going to be a percentage of people who will react to that and start looking at the product that they're marketing them about. So 5 is the magic number as a minimum. So what I mean by that, with your customers, once somebody starts to order, you don't necessarily need to present the catalogue again, because what you do is you have a worded note that you can then drop off the catalogue, easy peasy, and then they will continue ordering, because they know, because you're training your customers what to do. With the people who are not looked or lookers, I personally would recommend you still knock on the door and introduce yourself, because people like to see a face, to know who they're dealing with. And then once they start to become a customer, you can just drop off that catalogue. Because what you're going to do is, obviously, when you're delivering products, is they're going to still get to know you over a period of time. The other thing is, with trust and getting to know people, is people with trust start to order bigger values of orders. And what I discovered with Oriflame, I've got customers now who every campaign they order 30, 40, 50 pounds, didn't at the beginning, but now they do. And some of those customers have moved on to becoming VIP customers and order online. So this thing evolves and develops as you get stuck in to build it. So I guess a good target to aim for, and it's not all the be all and end all, because it depends on time and all sorts of things, but aiming to have 75 customers that you build during this process. So that's just, once you've got customers, you're just dropping the catalog off. So that's just 25 you're popping through their letterbox to existing customers. So it's really quick and slick. And that will produce you in the region of 350 to 400. But here's the thing, as trust builds, and also different times of the year, you could double that. So I'm talking, this is a minimum with a 75 customer base. Now, here's the thing, and this is the bit where dealing with the frustration in the early days of building it gets lots of people. Trust me, because I've gone through it myself, having moved up to Yorkshire from Bristol last year. I had to go through the whole process all over again. So if you're, the bottom line is, if you're, the more catalogues you're presenting a week, the quicker you get to building those 75 customers. So if you're just presenting only 30 catalogues a week, so that may be 10 a day over 3 days, it's going to take you at least 6 months to build a customer base. If you're presenting 90, 30 3 times a day, for instance, that's going to take you in the region of maybe 3, perhaps a little shorter, 3 months to get to that same point. So however, whichever numbers you're putting out determines how quick you're going to build it. So that's so either 30, 60, 90, 120, whatever. Just because you're not doing 120, you're only doing 30. That's not a criticism, because it's going to be determined by how much time you've got to do it. But as long as you know and you've got in your mind that 6 months is going to pass, whatever you do, just work on that to get those customers. Because once you've got them built, you've got them built, and that will just keep almost like autopilot, bringing in that retail element over and over again. And when you get into building a team, and you've got people who want to do this offline with catalogues, once you've done it yourself, you can then show them how it works. So it's so worth putting in a lot of time and effort to actually develop this and build this for yourself. So that was just a little snapshot. So it's a bit of a mindset thing, is building a customer base. And it's so easy to get frazzled at the beginning, because as I was saying, it seems like you're putting in an awful lot of work for very little return at the beginning, but actually it's a lot of return for little work further down the road. So I do this sort of level of retail, and I've got this core of customers. It takes me over 3 weeks to hit those customers. It takes me, I don't know, to get out 25 catalogues or whatever a week. It takes me just half an hour to do that. It take me, with COVID, I just ring them now for their order, so it's just one drop, and what I get back, obviously the orders, we organise in terms of deliveries, so it's really simple and quick. So it probably takes me to service that, probably takes me about 3 hours a campaign, and that's where you get the massive return for the work you put in further down the road. And these people order over and over again. And once you've got a customer base, you can then ask, oh, have you got any family and friends? I'll leave you an extra catalogue. So it begins to develop and expand once you build it. But rolling it back to day one, you're feeling, I'm putting a lot of work in. Why am I doing this? Well, the reason you're doing it is because you will be building something absolutely brilliant further down the road. So that's just purely with using catalogues, building a catalogue customer base, and that can be on top of everything that you begin to get into on the online side. So that's a separate training for another day. So I'm kind of done. Thanks for listening. I'm just going to let you hope you have a great day, and we'll catch up with a bit more training sometime soon.